So we are getting ready to move into game number 2.
Let's do that.
This is a best of 3, so if Triforks is able to take this game down, then he will be the first victor in moving forward. This is going to be a double elimination tournament, and so we will see the ill-fated drop out again.
Yeah, and that's a good thing in mismatches of skill like that, so that a player can get experience in playing and be able to do things. But as we're in this game, in the lower right-hand corner, the purple Protoss from last game succumbing to the Terran. His name is Nell.
And in the top left-hand corner, taking game number 1 in this best of 3, playing Terran, it is Triforks.
And I'm not actually sure what league Nell is, but I know Triforks is master from seeing his profile. So there is that. So people are asking in chat. Pylon going down from our Protoss.
And this is one of those, I mean, this is going to be a difficult map to do a lot of cheesing and proxy in, as it's so big. I think that might be part of the reason why Nell chose this map, is because he wanted to prevent that from happening again. He didn't want to have, proxy factory right, at the bottom of his ramp or something like that, that would be so easy for the mines to get into his natural, or his mineral line rather.
Well, with 4-player maps, I mean, you can't do that until you get the scout down, like you were saying. So, unless you're really lucky. Actually, I remember casting a match one time where someone misread the base locations and actually put down their proxy pylon and their went in for the big attack. Actually, I think it was MC in WCS Europe. Big whoops-a-daisy, and it was this map too. So definitely, if you want to go a little bit into the later early game at least, these 4-player maps do that for you. But it's like Gateway coming down, Chrono Boost on the Nexus to get the probes out. Triforks going to be doing a early scouting around clockwise on the map. And he's going to not see anything, but the second location is going to find his opponent.
And it looks like both players, just kind of doing some standard openings here. There's nothing too crazy just yet. It's a little early to be seeing too much craziness at this point, but there's no indication necessarily from either player that they're intending to do silliness.
It's only 1 gas from Nell with 3 workers in it, so he hasn't put down a second right away. I mean, when he last game only went with 1 gas, it was a pretty much this is all or nothing, all in type of build. So I'm curious if we'll see the same type of thing. He is missing a probe here as he's chrono boosted on 15.
And Triforks is producing a Reaper, so he's going to be able to get into the bases and do some damage. He just needs to figure out where his opponent is, but that's SCV is going up the main ramp now and is going to be able to see that.
Yep, and he did not see the probe putting down the Nexus there, I don't think, but he does know where his opponent is, and Nell doing a similar fashion, scouting around to the lower left base. He's going to be scouting to his opponent's base the next time, but the SCV is staying out of vision. Okay, now he's coming back. Stalker and Warp Gate, so far it looks very similar to what Nell did last time, save the expansion. So, with his choice of this map, I think you're correct, but a Reaper is going to be coming in to do some scouting and checking out of what's going on. This probe is going to fall. His life was not all that useful.
The Reaper is now in the mineral line and is going to try and get some shots off, and Nell is wandering his probes around, trying to buy some time for the Stalker to get in there. That Stalker is going to be able to shut down this Reaper, so he's going to have to bounce out of there before he gets killed.
Yep, and the command center coming down for Triforks as well.
Triforks has that hero SCV that's trying to whack at the Nexus. I don't think it's going to be too successful. A little bit of miss micro here by Triforks. He did end up losing that Reaper.
Yeah, that was definitely a bit of miscontrol there, because he did not need to lose that. And honestly, the very important scouting time is coming up right now as the first tech is going down. It's going to be Robo, so he's not going to get to see what that is.
Nell did try to hide a probe in Triforks' base, but it was found by a Marine and taken care of. 2 barracks are coming down behind that, so there will be some infantry in this game.
Yeah, factory as well going down in the main base. So, a pretty common opening in PvT that we've seen lately is the Marines and the mine with a quick drop. Basically, what we called it, the HOTS 111.
Yeah, we have mentioned that or called it that before.
Yep, and that's been kind of one of those things that goes either way. Either it's extremely successful or it's extremely unsuccessful. But Nell doing due diligence here with the Stalker, scouting around all corners of his base to make sure there's no proxy things going down.
It looks like both players are just kind of hunkering down, getting ready to do a little bit more of the macro play here. Triforks getting a bunker at the front of his ramp to get those Marines in there and defend his position while he makes some more of those precious SCVs. Nell is doing similar things in terms of getting those probes out, using his chrono boosts on his Nexuses, or Nexi.
Stim coming down for Triforks as well, so it looks like he's going to want to get that going as soon as possible. He does have another tech lab. He's going to be making Marauders out of that. Marauders out of both of them, so made a decent number of Marines early to fill that bunker, filling in the back with Marauders. There is a Militia Corps in the field, a Observer headed out, and there is going to be an SCV coming in, but he does have a Stalker on the ramp here to shut down any kind of scouting like this, so he's likely not going to be able to see much. If he micros this correctly, he doesn't lift the SCV in, and he does.
Yeah, so both players are thirsty for information from the other. That Observer is going to be a little bit more useful in terms of getting the information that he would like, but there goes Ann. And
he's going to see that +1 attack upgrade going down too, so he's going to be wary of timings that could be coming out of that.
But he does not see the robotics bay, and so he's not going to have any idea that Colossus are going to be happening in this game.
That's true, and that is a good thing to do for the Protoss, is to spread out your tech structures. Too many times, all of the structures go in one location, so a single scan gives you all the informations.
Yeah, that's just a good tactic in general when you're playing against a Terran player, or just about anybody. If you can move your structures around, then they're harder to scout. It's harder to get a clear picture of what you're doing.
So Nell does have an Observer in the main base of Triforks, so he does see what's coming on. He does have another one heading across the middle of the map that is going to see this push across the middle, so he is going to be able to give himself some time to prepare for this, and he sees it as he attaches his Observer to that army. His Mothership Core is actually an interesting spot here. Okay, there he goes, pulls it back.
Yeah, Nell is going to have to make some units here very quickly. He's only got 3 Zealots and 2 Stalkers. He does have enough energy for that Photon Overcharge, but it's going to be a little bit tricky here. This is a big force.
Yeah, we've got Stim and Concussive Shell done for these Marauders and Marines, so that is going to be pretty nasty against these Zealots and Stalkers. He's not going to be able to chase this down, if at all. There is a Colossus on the way, so if that comes out, that will certainly help a lot, as there is a scan to see if there's anything on the ramp. He sees, actually not sure.
No, that was to kill the Observer, actually.
Yes, he's checking for Observers. So Photon Overcharge does go down. Pushes in with this force.
Triforks doesn't care. He just goes right for it, saying, I've got the force, I can handle it, doesn't matter. I've got these medevacs, my units are invincible.
Yeah, so now he's just going to go for a big load up and a drop in the back, which is a great play, as there's nothing back here. The Colossus heading down to the natural, so this is going to be bad news bears.
It looks like he did catch wind of it as he's moving his units towards the front, and that pylon there, put there specifically for that purpose, to be able to see this type of thing. Microing back that Colossus to make sure that he does not lose it. Only took a little bit of shield damage there.
Nell doing a great job fending this off here. He just needs to last another 10-15 seconds here till that extended thermal lance, I guess a little longer than that, but till extended thermal lances finishes here. Once that finishes, that's going to be a big boon for him, because coming behind this is more Marines, more Marauders, so nothing too crazy out of Triforks. But once those numbers do get big enough, as he drops again.
And one of those medevacs did go down with a few units in it, so that's some free kills right there. But Triforks does have a factory just kind of hanging out in the natural of Nell, and there's not really a whole lot that Nell can do about it at the moment, as his Stalkers have been kind of tied up, and there's really only one. So if you chose, or there's another one there, but if you chose to, he could use this. I've seen this used before, as you land the factory, and then you kind of use it to zone out your opponents. Obviously, he's trying to attack from multiple fronts at the moment, so not super useful in that regard, but oh my gosh, stimming forward, using that factory as bait, and that Colossus is going to fall. All these units at the front are going to take heavy damage, and now Nell is scrambling to reorganize his units, get them back at the front, but geez, Pete's Triforks is really just kind of commanding.
But there is a big army down here. If he had charge, this would shut this down easily, but he doesn't, so he's going to have to slowly chase this down, stims to get out of it, so he's going to be able to save that, but that factory is going to slow down the Stalkers, at least, coming out of this.
And Nell is feeling like he really wants to kill that factory, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty annoying thing to just have hanging over, because it does have so much HP, and it can just hang out and see all of your army movement coming across the maps, basically like the Terran Observer, only not easy to kill.
But, you know, one of the things that factory did do is it delayed this army from coming across the map and allowed Triforks to get some more units out front to be able to defend against this push, and Nell's units are a little bit disjointed here. Stalker's got a little bit ahead. He did lose a few because of that, but the Colossus are coming forward, and they are going to be able to do some pretty good damage.
And there is a time warp available on that Mothership Core, almost 2 time warps available, so if he can time warp those bio units, especially since he has +1/+1 to no upgrades out of Terran, so these Colossus are going to do massive damage to this bio force.
But there are 4 Vikings here. He's just got to try and steer clear of, oh my goodness, look at those time warps. All these units are getting decimated. These Colossus are just doing the damage. They are getting it done. One is going to fall here, but so much damage has been done.
There's a lot of bio there following up on this, and those Stalkers were targeting down the Vikings only, so that allowed the Marauders to do a ton of damage to the Stalkers.
It looks like he's just clearly going to lose that, and tried to focus down one of those medevacs, but smartly got boosted away from the damage. And now looking back at home, Nell doesn't really have a whole lot of units left to defend. There's only four Stalkers, it looks like.
The food count just took a really big swing. Now Triforks is quite a bit in favor, as it's now 110 to 70. So that was, that's the tough bit when you have enough Stalkers like that and you try and target down those Vikings, because your Stalkers just get blasted by those Marauders. And he had, I think it was almost all Marauders there. So it looks like a load up going down in the middle. So he's going to be sending that towards the back of Nell's base. This is going to do quite a bit of damage. He hasn't really put down much here to fend off those drops. Maybe a couple cannons is always a good idea as you are moving out. But we'll see how he handles this. He does have an observer here, so he is going to see it coming in, but not having a lot of time to respond. He is reacting.
Yeah, he's moving immediately, trying to get over there. These units are going to be dropping and taking out that pylon, which is put there specifically for that purpose, but it does shut down a couple of warps, and that's no good. Oh, the Colossus up front, and he gets picked off. Oh, no.
That Colossus walked right into the army.
And he absolutely needed that. There's the GG, well played, and Triforks takes the match. 2-0.
2-0, yeah. I think that game could have gone either way, just based purely on the control of that one engagement. And those Marauders are so good against a lot of Stalkers like that, especially with Stim and Concussive Shell. So, I mean, with that, the only thing taking damage from the Colossus is just a really tough spot.
Absolutely, and you really have to pick those battles. Triforks was really smart as he saw that engagement coming. He knew that army was marching across the map. He decided that he's going to retreat to the top of his ramp where he's got the bunker. He's got the turret. He's got the concave of units. He can just kind of get the damage done. He had 2 Vikings on either side of each Colossus. Just really good spread, really good unit composition, and that's exactly how he wanted to engage that. He just controlled the engagement from beginning to end. The time warps didn't matter. He had the positioning, and Nell ended up losing a big chunk of his army, and that was kind of the game changer right there.
Yep. So we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to get an interview set up with our winner, hopefully, and we'll be right back.